Welcome to Kambani Zambia TV, your home for fearless investigative journalism, bold analysis, and untold stories from Africa and around the world. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and share this video to spread the truth far and wide. We dig deeper, ask the hard questions, and uncover what others won't. This is more than news. It's journalism that holds power to account. Let's get started. Disclaimer. The content in this video is based on publicly available reports, statements, and allegations. These claims remain unverified, and we do not endorse or confirm their accuracy. This video is intended for informational and discussion purposes only. In June 2025, Zambia's former president Edgar Lungu died in South Africa under mysterious circumstances. 4 months later, his body still lies unburied. Allegations of murder, poisoning, and political cover-ups swirl in both Lusaka and Pretoria. Tonight, we ask the burning question: why is the Lungu family blocking a postmortem? And what are they afraid it might reveal? It began on June 5, 2025, the day Zambia woke to the shocking news that its sixth president had died while receiving treatment in Pretoria. No official cause of death, no hospital statement, only silence and speculation. Then came whispers that Lungu may have been poisoned. South African police later confirmed they were investigating this possibility, after a local civic group, the Progressive Forces of South Africa, PFSA, filed a formal report alleging murder. But as the investigation gathered steam, another storm brewed, this time between the Lungu family and the Zambian government. Family spokesperson Makabi Zulu accused the Zambian government of clandestine activities, claiming that state agents secretly hired a private investigator to access the former president's body in Pretoria without family consent. The alleged investigator reportedly told the morgue that a case docket had been opened following claims that Mr. Lungu had been poisoned. But when journalists questioned Secretary to the Cabinet Patrick Kangwa, he denied all knowledge. The Lungu family says this was a breach of trust and part of a wider plot to undermine their mediation with government over burial arrangements. Yet, the same family has refused to allow an independent post-mortem, the very process that could have revealed the truth about how Edgar Lungu really died. Listen to this.
Good evening, fellow countrymen and women. This is an update by the family of the former president, President Edgar Lungu, on the state of the negotiations with the government of Zambia. The family of the former president, President Edgar Lungu, wishes to provide a public update on the state of negotiations with the government of the Republic of Zambia regarding the protracted burial impasse of the late former president who died on the 5th of June 2025 in South Africa. On the 5th of September, the family and representatives of the government issued a joint statement wherein the public was notified that the parties would engage in mediation to resolve the dispute. It was agreed that the process would include taking steps to rebuild trust that had earlier been broken by the Zambian state when they released a funeral program that included new elements that were contrary to what was agreed upon. The government chose Bishop Joshua Banda from the North Mid Assemblies of God, and the family appointed Dr. Alec Banda, the Roman Catholic Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Lusaka. It was agreed that the two mediators were to preside over the discussions between the family and the government. However, at the time of this agreement, His Grace Archbishop Banda was in Europe and only set to return home on or around the 1st of October 2025. In the intervening period, the state engaged in acts that have only worked to undermine trust in the process. These acts included the following. Number 1, hiring of the services of a private investigator without the knowledge and consent of the family. On 23rd of September 2025, in an attempt to access the body of former President Lungu, the Zambian government engaged a private investigator who approached the morgue holding the remains of the late former president. alleging that a docket of case had been opened after a report was allegedly received from a family member to the extent that the former president had been poisoned. Whilst the said private investigator, in the company of plainclothes police officers, was still at the morgue, the family was contacted, and upon request, the said investigator and police declined to talk to the family. Instead, the investigator and police officers proceeded to hold a meeting with the management of the morgue. The following were the minutes of the proceedings of the said meeting. And I quote, "On 23rd September 2025, we received an announced visit from members of the South African Police Service, accompanied by a representative of a private security firm. The purpose of the visit was to inquire about the whereabouts of a body in connection with a case of alleged poisoning involving the president. The attendees of the meetings were Sheldon Modley, who was the chief executive of the morgue, Fulufelo Lukwareni, who was the operations manager of the morgue, and Pom Nisi, executive legal risk and compliance at the morgue. With the private investigator was Detective Sergeant Ngwenya from SAPS Parktown, Sergeant Tobejani from SAPS Parktown, and Mr. Sibindi, the CEO of GIRA's investigations. Detective Sergeant Ngwenya advised that a case of poisoning had been opened and wanted to know the whereabouts of the body in order to carry out a postmortem. When asked who initiated the case, we were informed that it was opened on the basis of allegations circulating on public platforms, including social media. We also inquired about Mr. Sibindi's involvement, and he confirmed that he had been appointed by the Zambian government in relation to the matter. All three individuals presented valid identification prior to any discussions. We confirmed that the body is currently with TM, although we do not have specific details on its exact location. We also informed the officials that a court order is in place prohibiting the release of the body, and we remain committed to complying with this order. Detective Sergeant Ngwenya indicated that SAPS may proceed with an application under Section 205 and potentially save us with an order to release the body so that they can do a postmortem on 25th September. Action TM to update the family regarding the above developments." End of quote. Upon receipt of these trust-breaching acts, the family decided to bring this matter to the attention of Mr. Patrick Kangwa, the Secretary to the Cabinet of the Republic of Zambia, whom the government had officially designated as its focal point of contact through whom all communication was to be carried out. In response, Mr. Kangwa expressed ignorance as to the happenings and undertook to inquire. After 3 days of silence, we nudged the Secretary to the Cabinet for a response as to the outcome of his inquiry. Mr. Kangwa responded that as far as he knew, the Zambian government was not involved in these acts and had not tendered any such report to him. As this correspondence was taking place via phone, we then requested the Secretary to the Cabinet to put in writing the response he had just shared with the family so that the formal communication of the position of the government could be shared with the morgue for its notice. Despite undertakings to do so, Mr. Kangwa has to date not done so. Perhaps additionally, as of this evening, Mr. Kangwa said the said letter would not be processed. Instead, on the 29th of September 2025, a group calling itself Progressive Forces of South Africa purported to have formally filed a report with the South African Police Service, alleging that President Edgar Lungu was murdered and as such investigations be carried out. It must be noted that this is the same organization that was used to disparage the Lungu family and vilify the late former President Lungu. It is also the same organization that protested at the Pretoria High Court when the matter came up for their hearing in the name of supporting the government of Zambia. The public may wish to note that while the family was and has been engaging the government in good faith, the government was and has, in the background, been carrying out clandestine activities that can only be said to be intended to frustrate the process and present a futile bid to access the body of the former President Lungu for unknown reasons. Secondly, the sustained and malicious attacks on the family-chosen mediator. Following the return of Archbishop Alec Banda, the mediator selected by the family on the 1st of October 2025, it was announced that the parties were to engage and agree on the dates and timelines for discussion. However, rogue online tabloids and individuals associated with the government of Zambia launched scathing attacks on His Grace Archbishop Banda, short of calling him a criminal. These attacks continued for days, bringing the name of the Archbishop into public ridicule and odium. This has resulted in the stalling of progress to formally commence talks. Incidents such as the above stated seriously erode the trust that is essential to the success of the process of this nature. They also raise legitimate concerns about the sincerity and coordination of efforts on the part of those involved. That said, the Lungu family remains fully committed to ensuring that the late former president is laid to rest in a manner that honors his dignity and wishes. This has been the position of the family from the beginning. As such, the family will explore every avenue to honor former President Lungu's wishes. We remain indebted to the Zambian people and other well-wishers who have continued to stand with the Lungu family in prayers, thoughts, and otherwise, and without whom the burden and load would have been unbearable. As we seek closure to what has been and continues to be a very difficult period, we continue praying to God Almighty and remain hopeful that this darkest hour will pass. May God bless Zambia, and may God bless everyone who is watching this broadcast. I thank you.
In late September, the Progressive Forces of South Africa, the same civic group that clashed with the Lungu family in court, confirmed that the South African Police Service had officially opened an inquiry into the alleged murder. Reports suggested that preliminary toxicology findings were close to completion. But strangely, instead of supporting the investigation, the Lungu family accused the group of vilifying them and of working hand in hand with the Zambian government. Why such hostility toward an investigation that could bring justice and clarity? The family insists that the government's actions are disrespectful and politically motivated. But critics argue that the refusal to permit an independent post-mortem raises serious questions. If indeed Mr. Lungu was murdered, wouldn't the family want to know how? Why reject every opportunity to uncover forensic truth? Could there be something or someone the family is protecting? Analysts suggest that certain family members or close associates may fear being implicated if foul play is proven, particularly if poisoning traces back to individuals within Lungu's inner circle. Others believe the resistance stems from political motives, to keep control over the narrative and to prevent the state from staging a public state funeral spectacle that could rewrite Lungu's legacy. The battle over who controls the former president's body has reached South African courts, and in September, the Gauteng High Court ruled in favor of the Zambian government, clearing the way for a state funeral. The judges found no merit in the family's claim that they held exclusive burial rights, reaffirming that as a former head of state, Mr. Lungu must be buried with national honors. Yet, despite the ruling, the standoff continues. The body remains in a Pretoria morgue, the air thick with suspicion. Beyond legal documents and family feuds, a deeper issue remains, the pursuit of truth. If the late president was indeed murdered, then both Zambia and South Africa have a duty to uncover the truth, transparently and independently. But with every passing day of silence, conspiracy fills the void. A delay in burial, the accusations, the hidden reports, all feed into a dark suspicion that something far greater is being concealed. Edgar Lungu was not just a man. He was a former head of state, a husband, a father, and a figure whose story is still being written even in death. Whether he died naturally, was poisoned, or was the victim of a political plot, only truth can bring peace. But truth demands transparency. And until a proper post-mortem is done, Zambia will remain haunted by questions that refuse to die. Before you scroll away, ask yourself this. If the truth about Edgar Lungu's death is being hidden, who benefits from that silence? Zambia deserves answers. So don't just watch. Be part of uncovering the truth. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video until every Zambian is asking the same question. Why is the Lungu family blocking a post-mortem? Because the truth cannot be buried forever.
Support means the world and helps us create more awesome content. Got something to say? Drop a comment below. We want to hear your thoughts and ideas. Let's chat. And hey, if you think your friends would enjoy this, share it on YouTube. Spread the love and help our community grow. Thanks for being part of our journey. Let's keep it going.